All right, click the links. You on channel here or over on Subscribestar. Thanks to everyone who has supported. So all games must be propaganda in this new world order. It's like if they want to take a page from Animal Farm or 1984 or Brave New World or Fahrenheit 451, all those books are already written. Do they read those books in school anymore? Somehow I doubt it. Everything is blonde man bad. So all games got to be propaganda. Everything has got to be a vector to push some kind of brainwashing. At this point, you might as well just push back and accelerate it. So a game company comes out and say that they just want to make games and leave the politics out of it. To the credit of the left, they understand the culture war and the right doesn't. The right will disavow anyone who's a millimeter to the right of them. It's why they have the con ops right wing. Like anyone who's on the right on YouTube, if you're still on YouTube, then you're doing that kind of stuff, then you're almost certainly con ops. Where if you go a millimeter outside the allowable spectrum of right wing discourse, then Ben Shapiro will immediately, we need to chase these people down. We need to get them fired. We need to destroy their lives. We need to get their spouse fired. We need to make them homeless. Like, so Ben Shapiro, are you sure you're on the right, buddy? Or louder with Crowder. There's some clips of him, man. Anyway, so the left doesn't disavow literal terrorists on the left. So the right loses over time because they'll disavow anyone who's further right than them instead of just saying, oh, well, if the left doesn't disavow the far left, but they're anti-fashionable ones. Well, these guys are anti-communist, and communism is 1,000 times worse. So the right just continues to lose over time, and they have. The conservatives have conserved nothing. Please look over American history over the past 100 years. This next election is really important. Okay, stop the 10-year time scale and pull back to the 100-year time scale. Tell me again what if the conservatives can keep going in this direction, it's time to wipe everything away and start fresh. If you keep doing more of the same, you're just going to get this. It's insane to think, this election is really important. Yes, but not in the way you mean, even the fact that there are elections. Anyway, so there's a ton of cringy cat ladies and soy boys on the Twitter left. You've got like 20,000 Twitter, sub Twitter accounts, but they're parodying the information. They're not the source. The sources are nucleating the ideas and disseminating them through the colleges, lower high schools, teachers unions, and media. They control the narrative. The AstroTurf Twitter accounts just parrot whatever the puppet masters tell them to do. Though I will say there is that one funny account. It's like Boston Dad or something where he's looking down at the camera angle, which is so like. Somebody took that picture of you where you're looking down. It's a weird angle to take. It's kind of like a condescending angle. So now after the recent elections, he's in the Biden reply guy comments, and I was like, so what are the Republicans going to do about inflation and crime? And you look at him like, what are you talking about? Like, what happens to defund the police? Or inflation's a good thing. It's only temporary. But if it's not temporary, then it's a good thing. People have too much choice. Like, none of what you're saying makes sense. You're just headed to Weimar runaway inflation. Well, we need to increase the minimum wage. That's what causes runaway inflation. You're just gonna have wheelbarrow. Hell, we need it. Reparations in California. You're getting like, have you cracked the history book at all? Apparently not. And now it's the Republicans' time to. So you want the Republicans to stop crime? So you want to blame them. It's like the best thing Republicans to do is just like, fuck it, accelerate it, defund the police. We'll form like separate neighborhoods and separate states and militias. Yeah, absolutely. Defund the police, will form militias. Anyway, even when it gets found out that those kind of accounts are getting paid, the other useful idiots don't care because comfortable lies are better than harsh politically incorrect truths. To the left, everything is a vehicle to spread propaganda. It's sort of a sunk cost cat lady investment in bad ideas where they're terrified to fold their hands and walk away from the table because it means they have to change everything. It's like, yeah, not only were you playing a rigged game, but you have to like burn the cards, burn the table, and seek peaceful redress of grievance through constitutional protected activities. So everything they think they know, don't say anything in the comments, is from a globalist school or media. It's all a lie, even to the rare ones who did crack a book. I asked them, have you read the opposing theory? Have you listened to all the speeches with the subtitles? Have you read everything? Are you sure you read everything? I read Engels and Marx and Moses Mordecai Levy. Yeah. But now have you read the opposing books. And they're like, but opposing ideas aren't valid. What about that old adage? If you don't know your opponent's argument, you don't know your own. Oh, that's all. That's all Aristotle and Plato, all those dead Greeks. They're not possibly relevant. I they their ideas have survived for 2,000 years. There's probably some relevance to them. No. These ideas that are 100 years old are much better than these 2,000-year-old ideas. My globalist college professor told me so. Because our side has read the opposing theory. We have broken out of the matrix. If you're over target, you're catching flack. We got 40 millimeter anti-aircraft shells all effing around us. When they even kick off Sargon from PayPal, Patreon, and all the other payment processors, it's like, gee, Sargon's probably getting a little bit too close to the truth. And there's a couple other people who were in that milquetoast moderate right. There's one guy that does some tech streams. I think he's an Asian guy on YouTube. He does tech streams, and he got his fingers burned when he found out who holds the whip hand. We broken out of the matrix. We saw the same globalist propaganda that the left wing saw, and we rejected it. Doesn't it seem more likely that if anyone is brainwashed, it's the people who are in lockstep with government, schools, globalist media, social media, all the mainstream media, and every public corporation that has a social media footprint, every financial institution, banks, and payment processors? Isn't it more likely? I mean, just looking at the people in the corporations and government that support one set of ideas, doesn't it seem that the left is just raging for the machine? No, we're punk rock guys. It's like, didn't the punk rock bands literally just change their names because it's no longer politically correct? Guns N' Roses 1 in a million nationalism. It's like, should you say it? What matters is that you have the right to say it, and that's rock and roll. They went from Occupy Wall Street to being funded by Bank of America. Doesn't that ping your BS detector? Anyway, are games capable of not being political? Tough question. Some games are always going to have to be able to be interpreted through a nationalist or a globalist worldview. So when leftists want games and game companies to be political, yes, those are two different things. They want left-wing politics. Like, that's just, there's no other alternative in their minds of, oh, what about one game presents the right-wing position? As who was it, Rachel Leishman at the Mary Sue was talking about, South Park presents both sides of an argument, and there is no both sides of an argument. Oh, so you guys are like just mask off authoritarian dictators. And it's like it's the dumbest people on earth, like the midwits who are telling you, who are parodying information that there are no both sides of an argument. Yeah, left wing want left wing politics, but it never occurred to them that games could just easily go into nationalist politics, assuming that they could find banks to work with them and a distributor, which in the real world would be difficult. It's kind of the similar issue that movie companies would have if you tried to fund your own movies. It's like, one, banks wouldn't work with you, which should be they should not be able to discriminate based on political opinions by law, and two, distributors would just not work with you. So it's like, oh, so like these people, these NGOs actually run the country. Yeah, I mean, me and everyone else has been saying that. Like, we're going to continue to say that as long as we have a social media footprint. So it's as simple as comparing the original Lord of the Rings, Euro tribalism, versus the modern Rings of Power, which is globalism, or Wheel of Time, or Willow, or whatever other crap they come out. This stuff is so laughably bad. Why is it bad, bigot? Because it's not the authentic story. If you want to write something fresh, then write your own authentic story. But globalism isn't based in anything. It's just based in the theoretical world of Moses Mordecai Levy. So in that sense, there is no way to avoid that binary of global versus national. An insane woman in the comments wants the games to tell the history of involuntary labor. She wants pure propaganda from her perspective. Would you want the history of the Barbary human trade and the Islamic colonization and mass removal from this mortal coil, or the true story of something like the Woman King, like the actual story of the Woman King of the Dahomey tribe, where the English and the French fought to stop what they were doing and the Africans fought to keep it? Would you want that story being told? Somehow I suspect not. These cat ladies and soy boys, they don't buy the games. They don't buy comics, obviously. They don't even watch these movies, but they know that they should be always a lecture in Blonde Man Bad. We disagree because we're not globalists. We love ourselves. We hold ourselves in high esteem. We have the utmost respect for ourselves. We don't have any of your shared guilt. Like, that's the weirdest propaganda thing I've ever heard, is like they seem to think that in itself is a psychops when they talk about this guilt concept. I look around, it's like very few people believe that. I think that's a strong projection by the media. we don't want to take part in your bizarre brainwashing ritual. My point being, if you're in these, you're making these kind of games, and if there's any way possible, start the pendulum swinging back the other direction. Like, this is the time. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, join the channel over here on YouTube while you can, or over on Subscribestar, and I'll see you guys next episode.